Good afternoon. Uh, Welcome to, uh, my name is Joe Bandel. I'm the last Rosicrucian, and this is going to be like a Gaia Ascension energy report, I guess. I try to put these out once a week. What I sense happening in the astral planes and what I sense happening as regards to Gaia's ascension. Now, today's episode is going to be about the third wave because what I what I sense happening, what I sense has happened, uh, and this happened on the 1st of July. There is a big energy shift. And when we're talking about energy shifts, we're talking about collective energy shifts. There's different ways that something can shift. One is you could have energy coming in and that triggers things happening. And you can have something like specific days. The 1st of January is the beginning of 2025. So what happens is, even if nothing else was happening, January 1st is a big deal because that's the day of the beginning of a new year. And this is something that's recognized globally. So it's triggered by the collective, or it's something about the collective. And it's in combination, of course, with the energies that are coming in on the winter solstice energies, the Christmas energies, whatever you want to call that. And what's exciting, what I'm going to be talking about, is what's beginning, and I mentioned this in my last video. What's beginning is the third wave of ascension. And I want to talk about this a little bit because the more we talk about this, the more understanding there is, and the more realistic the expectations become surrounding personal ascension, humanity's ascension, Gaia's ascension, everything else. And it's interesting when you consider or when you think that we are beginning the third wave of ascension for humanity, which means the second wave just graduated. The first wave was at least a year ago, whatever. I mean, the first wave was obviously the first wave, and the second wave followed the first wave. Now, the first wave was a smaller group of people that caught that wave, that were dealing with that wave. The second wave brought in more people. And the third wave, which is just beginning, is exponential. Each one of these waves is exponential. And so what's going to happen is during this year, 2025, the whole year coming up to complete the cycle, we're having a third wave. And the way it looks, the way it really looks is everything's going by a yearly cycle right now, which implies and which means that in 2026, at the beginning of 2026, the fourth wave of ascension is going to begin. So this third wave is just this year. The second wave was pretty much just last year. Maybe it started earlier than that. I'm not going to get into that, but it's like things are speeding up. And what's happening is two waves, two specific groups of souls or people have ascended in their awareness, whatever. And what does that mean? And what does that mean for this third wave that's coming up? What's happening is it's getting easier and easier and easier as time goes on, because the path to ascension is becoming more understood than ever before. But it's also, in certain ways, becoming more challenging, because the world is changing now. And what we're going to be seeing in this year, 2025, we're going to be seeing massive change. Basically, this is because what happens is, okay, this is the, if you talk about where's the activity, where is the catalytic effect, where's the movement, it's not going to be, well, the cutting edge movement is going to be on this third group of people. It's going to be on the larger segment of the population, a larger segment of the society. Now, you take the first wave. I was part of the first wave, and it's kind of like, okay, what does 2025 look like for me? And I've been trying to kind of sort that out. But what it means is my life, my timeline that goes into the future is pretty much crystallized around me. And I'm kind of settling into my life circumstances. And it's going to be pretty hard to rattle my cage, so to speak. This is how I'm thinking the way it is. Now you take the people from the second wave, and what are they going to be doing? My understanding, or my best guess, is that the second wave people are going to be carving out their niche in society. They're going to be carving out their future. So while I'm kind of settling into my future that I've already kind of established for myself, the second wave is going to really be carving out their future, which is a lot of work. But on the other hand, it's the kind of work where you're seeing results. You're getting results in it, so it's a pretty exciting thing. So what does that mean for the third group, the group that's just beginning? The third group that's just beginning, there's going to be an increasing awakening and increasing realization, oh shit, I'm missing the boat. Or it's all falling apart, what do I do? So there's going to be a scrambling to get on board. There's going to be a scrambling to stay afloat, a scrambling to maintain stability in a world that's going mad, because the going mad is going to be increasing too. So anyway, that's the third timers. So the third one, they're going to be like, oh crap, I got to do something. What's happening? How do I keep on top of the things? How do I pay the bills? How does this what do we do? And so there's going to be a scramble. It's going to be kind of a panic. But the third wave is going to hold on. Basically, they're going to find their rock. They're going to find their place of stability. And how are they going to do that? Well, they're going to do that because the the path is already known. The path is already shared, and they're going to be drawn to the things that they need to do it. So I would suspect that the third wave of people that are going to be ascending, and they're going to be doing that this year, are going to be triggered by a lot of challenges where they're forced to uh, creatively go after their take care of things. But I expect my the sense that I have of things is that it's going to work out all right for them. They're going to rise to the challenge, as opposed to, let's say, 2026, when the fourth wave comes through or it starts. And just from where I'm sitting right now, I'm kind of thinking they're going to be hurting a little bit. They're going to be hurting, and they're going to be trying to find ways out of that hurt. I suspect what I'm feeling, the sense that I'm getting, is that the third wave is going to be rattled out of their cages. They're going to be shaken awake, but not necessarily hurting that bad if they scramble, if they deal with things. The other thing that comes up, that's coming up about this being the third wave, it's becoming increasingly obvious that ascension, if we say two waves of souls, two waves have already ascended, generally speaking, these people are still here. I'm still here. My circumstances are still pretty much what they were, that kind of thing. So ascension is not meaning that we're leaving the earth. It's not saying that we're necessarily leaving the planet. Now, granted, there are a lot of people that are leaving. Then they're passing over. And my wife, she passed over several years ago. My best friend passed over last year. He passed over from cancer. So what you're going to be seeing is there's a lot of people, and the reason that they're passing over is probably through some form of medical condition where they just can't hang on anymore, or they can't go on anymore. But their soul graduates. They end up be let's face it. We gotta come out and say this. Essentially, ascending means that your soul body, if you will, your soul personality, your non-physical self, your awareness, your ghost, if you will, is going to continue on after the death of your physical body. To be born into a physical body means you're going to leave a physical body through the process of death at some point in your life. That's always been that way. It always will be that way. But what's happening is it's kind of like, what kind of ghost do you want to be? Do you want to be a ghost that's just up in the mental realms, that's kind of not really, that has no earth to walk around in, particularly, that it's all a mental creation? Or do you want to be in a place that has more a richness of emotions? Or do you even want to be in an earth-like location where you can have even more sensory stimulations, adventure, uh, nature, those kind of things? In other words, I guess what I'm saying is Earth, or Gaia, is gradually becoming a part of the astral planes. It's becoming non-physical in the sense of our understanding of it. As Earth is becoming more and more non-physical, as it is entering into the astral planes, we are doing the same thing. And if we can do it with Gaia, where she ends up, we can end up. Our ghost, if you will, can end up. And our ghost can have and I'm saying ghost because the only reason I'm saying ghost is because when you say ghost, you kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. It's the personality, it's the awareness, the consciousness that survives after the death of the physical body, and how well it has developed, whether it's going to exist within a purely mental realm, or whether it's going to exist in a essentially physical realm. What the Eastern traditions, Eastern martial arts and spiritual traditions called the immortal physical body, where it exists just in a regular world, but it's a world that has eliminated most of the negative, the low, how you can't say low vibration. See, this is where if you talk about nature, if you talk about the insects, the birds, the lower animals, they don't exist in a high vibration. They need a low vibration, but that low vibration is not a negative thing. It's not an evil thing. It's not a bad thing. A tree, a plant, a blade of grass needs to have that low earth connection to live, to exist. And Gaia's ascension is bringing all of those with it into the astral, into the etheric astral planes. And in the process, it's ejecting all of the negativity, all of the toxic elements. So what we're looking at is a world, and I know that this is the wrong way of saying it, but I'm saying it because it helps to visualize properly. The ghost world that our ghost will live in is not going to be a dark, evil, dangerous, sick place. It's going to be like the Garden of Eden. It's going to be highly spiritual. It's going to be filled with love. It's going to be filled with goodness. But it is, so it's going to be where those of us who can hold on in our physical bodies until Gaia literally completes that shift out of the physical, it's where we can find a home. So what we're talking about is our ghost finding where it's going to relocate after we drop our physical bodies at the end of our lives, which is something that always would have happened anyway, except that we kept coming back. We kept coming back through the reincarnational cycle, and this is like, okay, once Gaia makes this shift, there's no more reincarnation cycle like it was. We're going to end up being where we end up for quite a while. That's kind of the sense that I have of it. And okay, if you notice on some places I've been reposting some posts from the Galactic Federation that I found interesting. And I want to share that one of the reasons that I'm posting those is because they live they are like ghosts living in their ghostly world. But they're surrounding us because we're about to join and merge our world with their world. And they are actively working with us on the non-physical level to help us make this transition and get ready. So everything that I'm talking about today is talking about, for lack of words get in the way, but we're talking about that survival of the non-physical, even though technically speaking it is an element. These bodies would be elemental bodies. They would have a physical element. So our ghosts, if you will still be created out of elements, specifically noble gases of whatever type that suits our individual awareness, and it could be several. In fact, the ideal is that we have the full spectrum available to us. The full spectrum is the spiritual planes, the abstract mental planes, which are the philosophical planes, the concrete mental planes, the upper emotional planes, the lower emotional planes, the physical, what we call the physical, and finally the etheric planes. We could potentially have integrated every single one of each one of those layers or levels, has its own potential astral body that our awareness can exist within, and a world that our awareness can exist in. And we can integrate all of those as well. And at the death of our physical body, we're going to end up in one of those places. The idea is, okay, let's develop our spiritual body, develop our non-physical body, develop our ghost body, so that it is able to dwell in the most rich and satisfying place possible. And that is ultimately what we are, that's the task that we have set before us. Now, the first wave, we got a jump start on everybody. So we're pretty well set in our ways. Our physical body's still here, obviously, and we're holding a space. Mantak Chia said it very well, and I mentioned this in the last post that I did, which the Eastern traditions say that once you have ascended, or once you have created that ghost body, that immortal physical body, they said you need to drop the physical body. Well, what's happening is we are developing, or in the case of the first wave and in case of the second wave, we have developed a ghost body. We have developed a ascension body, but we haven't dropped our physical body yet. So we're technically living in both worlds, and we're going to hang out living in both worlds until everybody else catches up to us, and we all go at once. Or we go in our own time, like a lot of people are going, just run out of time, run out of space. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. So what it brings up is I'm trying to stress in a very simple way, we want to empower our ghosts. We want to empower our soul bodies, our soul personalities, if you will, so that they end up, after we drop our physical bodies, so they end up in the most opportune place that is set up for us. And the danger, the real danger that exists is, okay, take somebody who's an absolute materialist and they do not believe in anything spiritual. They don't believe in an afterlife. They don't believe in a ghost. They don't believe in a lot of these supernatural phenomenon that's happening. And what happens when they identify completely with their physical body? The question that I'm going to be asking, that I'm asking you right now, what happens when they die? What happens when their physical body drops dead and they can no longer identify with it? If you're in that category, what happens when you die and your physical body, you can no longer identify with it? Because if you continue to identify with your physical body after it's dead, that's a real bad place to be. That's a real bad place to be. So you need. So I guess what I'm saying, there's a wake-up call, and the wake-up call that's going around is people all around the world this third wave of people, they're beginning to think about spiritual things. Not only that, they're beginning to be more psychic. There's more channeling. What's channeling? Channeling other entities. Well, what are those other entities? Well, they're not physical that we know of. You can call them ghosts, if you will. I'm in this whole video, I'm using the word ghost in the wrong way, but I'm using it deliberately because it is so effective in getting the point across of what I'm really talking about. Because I'm talking about there are ghosts. I have experienced ghosts. I've helped spirits of the dead. I've helped them cross over and reach the light. So there's no doubt in my mind that happens. I have personally had such out of body experiences that I know that my ghost body, if you call it, is functioning quite fine, quite well. And it's empowered enough, I'm not worried about it. And I'm ready to lay down this physical body tonight, tomorrow, it doesn't matter. It's not going to be something that is fear-based. I'm actually looking forward to it because I do live in both worlds. The second wave does live in both worlds, but they're still kind of getting used to it and they're strengthening themselves. The third wave, which we're talking about right now, 2025, they're going to get their wake-up call. The alarm that's on the side of their bed is going to be going off and it's going to be saying, "Hey, where's your ghost? You got to start working on this." And you're going to be seeing a lot of psychic phenomenon happening. You're going to be seeing a lot of weird things going on this year. And it's going to be going on by a lot more exponentially more people because, hey, the third wave is the biggest wave yet. And it's going to be triggered by events, mass events that are really going to be happening because the breakdown of that old world, this is the year that it happens. Well, that's all I really had to share on this. I hope it made sense a little bit. And I really hope that people can kind of get it in their head that the ghost thing that I'm talking about is not a negative in any way. It's the survival after the death of the physical body and what a lot of people would call an energy body, but it's actually like a Nobel gas body that's held together by energy. So it remains, it has a physical element that gets way too complicated for what I'm trying to share right now. But anyway, till next week, thank you. Goodbye.